Welcome back to Latest Cars International, the channel where we bring you detailed insights into some of the most fascinating vehicles from automotive history. Today, we're diving deep into a car that holds a truly special place in the hearts of enthusiasts and collectors, a car that was unlike anything its parent company had ever built before, and one that stood as a bold experiment in American automotive design and engineering. We're talking about none other than the Studebaker Avanti, a car that turned heads in its era and still sparks curiosity and admiration decades later. The Studebaker Avanti first appeared in the early 1960s, at a time when the American auto industry was booming and competition was fierce. Automakers were chasing both performance and style, and the muscle car era was beginning to form. Studebaker, a company that had been around for over a century, was facing financial challenges and needed something dramatic to reassert itself in the market. Their answer was the Avanti, introduced for the 1963 model year. Unlike anything else on the road, the Avanti was marketed as America's only four-passenger high-performance personal car, and it was designed to blend elegance, performance, and innovation into one unique package. Looking at the exterior, the Avanti was far ahead of its time. Its design was spearheaded by Raymond Loewy, the legendary industrial designer, who worked with a small, dedicated team to craft something that would be instantly recognizable. The body was made of fiberglass, which was unusual for the era and put the Avanti in the same innovative league as Chevrolet's Corvette. Fiberglass allowed the designers to achieve shapes and curves that traditional steel stamping of the time simply couldn't produce. The result was a body that looked smooth, aerodynamic, and futuristic compared to the more conservative designs dominating American roads. The front of the Avanti was perhaps its most distinctive element. Instead of a traditional grille, the car featured a clean, sculpted nose with a pair of round, inset headlights under glass covers, giving it a streamlined, almost European look. The lack of a conventional grille was revolutionary and hinted at aerodynamic efficiency, although the design was primarily about style. The sculpted hood line flowed into subtle bulges over the front fenders, while the bumper design integrated cleanly into the overall form. For 1963, this was a car that looked like it had come from the future. Walking along the side, the Avanti displayed smooth, flowing lines without unnecessary chrome trim. Its roofline gently arched into a wide rear window, and the car had a semi-fastback profile that gave it a sporty, upscale character. Unlike many American cars of the time, the Avanti's design avoided excessive ornamentation and instead emphasized simplicity and modernism. Its long hood, short deck proportions spoke to its performance intentions, and the flared wheel arches gave it a planted, muscular stance. Even the door handles were subtle, integrated into the design without breaking up the car's clean aesthetic. The rear of the Avanti carried on the futuristic look. The back featured a recessed panel with thin, horizontal taillights and a neatly sculpted trunk area. The bumper design again blended into the bodywork, giving the rear a smooth, almost European Grand Touring look. For many, the rear end was as distinctive as the front, helping establish the Avanti as a car that looked striking from every angle. The overall proportions were balanced and elegant, and decades later, the design still looks remarkably modern compared to many of its contemporaries. Now, when it comes to performance, the Studebaker Avanti was no slouch. Studebaker offered the car with a range of engines that gave buyers a real taste of speed and power. At the heart of the Avanti lineup was the Studebaker 289 cubic inch V8 engine. On its own, this engine produced respectable power for the time, but Studebaker didn't stop there. The company offered the Avanti with Paxton superchargers, which significantly boosted output. In its most powerful form, the Avanti could produce around 290 horsepower, which was very impressive for a car of its size and era. The performance numbers were equally noteworthy. With the supercharged V8, the Avanti was capable of hitting 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 7.5 seconds, a figure that put it in competition with the Corvette and some European sports cars of the time. Top speed exceeded 120 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest American cars of its day. Studebaker even used the Avanti to set speed records at the Bonneville Salt Flats, where specially prepared versions reached speeds of over 170 miles per hour. These records gave the Avanti serious performance credibility and cemented its reputation as more than just a stylish car. The chassis and suspension setup also contributed to the Avanti's performance. Studebaker engineered the car with front independent suspension using coil springs and a rear live axle setup, a fairly standard arrangement for the time but one that was tuned for stability and handling. The Avanti also introduced front disc brakes as standard equipment, making it one of the first American production cars to feature this important technology. At a time when most cars still relied on drum brakes, the Avanti's discs provided superior stopping power and enhanced driver confidence at high speeds. This innovation alone was enough to set the Avanti apart from the competition. Driving dynamics of the Avanti were considered excellent for the time. Owners and reviewers noted its solid road feel, responsive steering, and composed handling. It wasn't a lightweight sports car, but it delivered a refined balance of performance and comfort. Long highway drives felt effortless, while spirited back road runs revealed its stability and grip. The combination of powerful engines, aerodynamic design, and advanced braking gave the Avanti a unique driving personality that placed it firmly in the category of performance-oriented personal cars. Moving inside, the Avanti's interior was designed to reflect its modern, upscale identity. When you opened the doors, you were greeted by a cabin that felt both luxurious and sporty. The dashboard was particularly striking. Instead of the typical flat dashboard seen in many American cars of the era, the Avanti's dash had a cockpit-style layout with multiple round gauges set in a padded, safety-oriented design. The use of toggle switches and a full array of instruments gave it an aircraft-inspired feel, appealing to drivers who wanted something different and more engaging. Seats were comfortable and supportive, available in a variety of leather and vinyl upholstery options. The front bucket seats emphasized the Avanti's sporting intentions, while the rear bench seat offered space for 2 additional passengers, though the rear seat was best suited for shorter trips or smaller occupants. Still, the Avanti was one of the few performance cars of the era that offered genuine 4-passenger accommodation. The interior trim options included woodgrain accents and stylish color schemes, giving buyers plenty of ways to personalize their cars. Another notable aspect of the interior was its attention to safety, which was ahead of its time. Studebaker promoted the Avanti as the first American production car designed with safety in mind. Features included a padded dashboard, recessed controls, built-in roll bar protection in the roof structure, and optional seat belts. This emphasis on safety was unusual in the early 1960s, long before such features became standard across the industry, and it further highlighted the Avanti's forward-thinking design. Beyond the design and performance, the Studebaker Avanti also carried a fascinating legacy. Despite its innovative design and impressive performance, the Avanti faced significant production challenges. Studebaker struggled with delays in building the fiberglass bodies, which caused missed deadlines and limited production numbers. As a result, only around 4,600 Avantis were produced between 1963 and 1964 before Studebaker closed its South Bend plant. This limited production run has made original Avantis rare and highly collectible today. However, the story didn't end there. After Studebaker stopped producing the Avanti, the rights to the car were purchased by 2 South Bend Studebaker dealers, who revived it under the name Avanti II in 1965. These cars carried on the spirit of the original with updated Chevrolet small block V8 engines and continued production in various forms for decades. The Avanti II and its successors ensured that the Avanti design lived on long after Studebaker itself had faded from the automotive landscape. Today, the Studebaker Avanti is remembered as one of the most daring and innovative cars ever produced by an American automaker. Collectors prize them for their rarity, style, and performance, while enthusiasts admire their forward-thinking design and engineering. Whether viewed as a groundbreaking performance machine, a design icon, or a symbol of Studebaker's bold ambition, the Avanti continues to inspire admiration more than half a century later. When you see one on the road or at a car show, it's impossible not to be struck by how modern the Avanti looks even today. Its clean lines, absence of a grille, and elegant proportions set it apart from other cars of the 1960s, and its performance credentials make it more than just a pretty face. The fact that it influenced so many design trends and still looks fresh is a testament to the genius of Raymond Loewy and his team. For enthusiasts who love cars that combine performance, innovation, and timeless style, the Studebaker Avanti stands as a true American classic. It represented a bold leap for a company that was fighting for survival, and although it couldn't save Studebaker in the long run, it left behind a legacy that continues to shine brightly. To this day, the Avanti remains one of the most fascinating cars of its era, a rolling piece of art and engineering that embodies both ambition and innovation. Here on Latest Cars International, we love exploring vehicles like the Avanti because they remind us of the creativity and boldness that has always driven the automotive industry. The Avanti wasn't just a car, it was a statement. A statement that Studebaker could innovate, that they could compete with the best, and that design and performance could be fused into something extraordinary. For collectors, owning an Avanti is like owning a piece of history, a reminder of an era when American car companies weren't afraid to take risks. Whether you admire it for its futuristic looks, its record-setting performance, or its role in pioneering safety features, the Studebaker Avanti deserves recognition as one of the great automotive icons. So, as we wrap up this in-depth look at the Studebaker Avanti, we hope you've gained a new appreciation for what made this car so special. From its fiberglass body and grille-less design to its supercharged V8 power and innovative safety features, the Avanti was a car that truly stood apart from the crowd. It may not have sold in huge numbers, but it captured the imagination of everyone who saw it, and it continues to inspire admiration to this day. Thank you for joining us here at Latest Cars International. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Studebaker Avanti and want to see more detailed explorations of classic cars, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. We'll be back soon with another journey into the fascinating world of automotive history. Until then, keep your passion for cars alive, and we'll see you in the next video.